Hello and welcome back to the Film Posers YouTube channel. My name is Josie and I'm accompanied by my co-host Gabriela Burgos. And we're going to be talking about Shadow and Bone, the new Netflix series based on the books by Leigh Bardugo, which also combined the Six of Crows series. So we're going to be talking about that a little bit. Before we get into the Shadow and Bone talk, I just wanted to share that we actually saw an advanced screening of In the Heights. So please turn on the notification bell on this channel because we will be reviewing it soon. So please, again, turn on that notification bell so you can find out first when we talk about In the Heights on Film Posers YouTube channel.
The In the Heights review will last 45 minutes, so get your popcorn ready.
But for today's episode on the YouTube channel, Gabriela is going to be our moderator, so take it away.
Hello, everyone. So if you follow us on Twitter and if you follow me on Twitter, you might have seen me screaming about a screener and how the film posers were freaking out because I was freaking out and I created chaos on the group chat when the email arrived because I read the books, the original Grisha trilogy so many years ago, and I was so excited for this TV adaptation. So when we got the screener, it was chaos, and I watched it all in the span of 24 hours, and it was everything I wanted it to be. So before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about the show. So the show was created by Eric Heisner, and as Josie mentioned, it is based on the books by Leigh Bardugo, both the Grisha trilogy and the Six of Crows duology. And the main premise of the show, it follows a young girl named Alina Starkov that in a war-torn world, she unleashes this powerful and extraordinary magic that might be the key to saving their country from what is known as the Fold. And so she is taken to be trained with this group of magical soldiers called the Grisha. And she discovers that not everything is what she thought it was. And as she is training with the Grisha, we also follow a group of criminals trying to complete a job for some money. So going into the premise, when it was announced that it was combining both Grisha and Six of Crows, I was a little bit hesitant because first of all, I didn't read Six of Crows, but I knew that it took place separate from the Grisha. So it's a new set of characters and it does not follow any of the characters from the Grisha trilogy. So I was very...
Yeah, it's set in the same world, but yeah.
So I was kind of confused, how are they going to pull this off? I was kind of worried that it wouldn't work and it would cause the show to be confusing. But, well, Josie, you didn't read any of the books. You didn't know anything about Grisha. What are your initial thoughts?
I was familiar more with the Six of Crows book, so maybe that's why I have stronger feelings towards that side of the show. I did not know anything about the Shadow and Bone series itself, which, if I'm not mistaken, it's 3 books. If you eliminate, of course, the extended versions, of the extended universe copies, which of course that includes Six of Crows and everything else, like King of Scars, etc. Yeah, that's why I think I was more excited for the Six of Crows part of the story, and I enjoyed that part more. I wasn't familiar with any of the characters. I didn't know about Alina. I didn't know about the Darkling. I knew whispers of the Darkling, but I didn't know specifically who he was, what his part in it was. I didn't know about Mal. So that side of the story was the newest one for me and was a little bit harder to get into because that getting into critiques, I think that's my main thing with the show. It feels like it was made mostly for fans of the books, which is always good when they do that. But at least I was lost at the beginning. And eventually you get it gains its footing and it gets, once you figure out and you catch up, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's definitely something that I really enjoyed. It was definitely made for the fans of the book. I was freaking out. It was just seeing this world come to life and all of the characters, which we haven't talked about the cast. I personally loved the entire cast. They all worked great together. They had such great chemistry. So most of them are unknown actors, which is really cool. So it stars Jessie May Lin, who's Alina, Ben Barnes as the Darkling / General Kerrigan. You're supposed to call him General Kerrigan because you're not supposed to know he's the bad guy, but you read the books, he's the bad guy. Plus, it's so obvious that he's the bad guy. The Freddie Carter as Cass Brecker, Amita Suman as Anish, Kit Young as Jesper, and Archie Renault as Mal. So it's a great cast, and there's also more recurring characters that also are part of the Grishaverse. There's the characters that play Nina. You see everyone from the Grishaverse. I needed to get renewed for season 2 because I need to see my boy Nikolai. I need to see him and his flying pirate ship. I need this to happen. But yeah, overall the cast was great. I loved how they each brought their characters to life, and obviously we were freaking out over Ben Barnes when the casting was announced that Ben Barnes was going to be the Darkling. I think it was the last time book Twitter had peace. Not gonna lie.
It was. And everyone's so excited for him. Most of the times when you see people tweeting about how they're excited for Shadow and Bone, most of it includes Ben Barnes as the Darkling.
And he was great.
He was. I really enjoyed him. Especially it was fun watching because my mom also figured out we had a screen and she was like, I want to see it. So she was watching it and she was loving Ben Barnes as the Darkling. And my favorite part was her being actually like shocked that he was a villain. And I'm like, Mom, look how he dresses. That is villain couture.
The cape. You're seriously gonna look at a guy wearing a long black cape and not figure out he's the bad guy?
I mean, not even that. He's just walking around with this very like the coat with the furs and everything.
And also how he looked at people, he was like, I look down upon you. Of course
he had permanent villain face.
Yes. Yes, even when he smiled, it was the evil smile.
It wasn't even a smile. It was like, huh.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's also interesting how, there's always this conflict between the people who read the books that it's either like Team Darkling or Team Mal. But to me, Mal was so unlikable in the books that I was, on the Darkling.
That's what I've heard the most when it comes to the TV show from people that have already watched it, that have read the books as well, that Mal is much more likable in the show.
Yes, he is. You kind of feel bad for him while in the book. I was kind of waiting for him to die, but...
Oh my God.
You're so annoying.
Well, getting into specifics, I think in terms of fight choreography was very interesting because you are dealing with magic. I really liked costume design. I think the costume design in this series was probably one of the best elements of the show. Production design, of course, they were on location for a lot of these, and you could tell. And it just felt larger than life, which is what you would have expected from a young adult fantasy series. So I think in that aspect, they really captured the essence of what it should have been and what it is now.
Yeah, and the visual effects, especially seeing each of the individual Grisha powers, they were also so well done. They look great. They don't look, how people say, oh, they look like Supernatural or Doctor Who. Those visual effects are not as great, but they do look very well. And you can see
they had budget.
They had budget. They had the money. So all of the different Grisha powers look great. And the Fold, the monsters of the Fold, that was awesome. And how, because obviously it was a book, so you kind of just imagine it. But how they brought it to life was just perfect. It was very creepy. And I love how, because in my mind, the Fold was kind of like an ocean because you have to cross it in ships.
Yeah. And it was very interesting how they did it with wind because they needed, I don't know the name, is it Ventari? I don't know.
No.
The name of the people's, I'm confusing it with Incendiary. Shout out to Zoraida. So the people that control wind, they always needed one on board to be able to pass by because especially that's why the conductor comes in for the Six of Crows people, because there is no water. You need to, because basically the Fold just incinerated everything. Not literally, there is no fire involved, but it's just dead space.
I think it's also worth mentioning how the combination of Six of Crows and
yes, that's what I wanted to talk about.
Worked because the pilot episode is mostly an introduction to each individual character. And like Josie was saying how it felt that it was clearly two different stories.
Yeah, it definitely felt like two storylines were being interjected into each other, and you could tell that these two did not belong to each other. But you learn to vibe with it because they do end up mixing together and crossing paths at one point. You're like, okay. But still, you feel it in the back of your head like, this doesn't feel like it's supposed to happen, but it's happening. So let's just play along.
Yeah, I really like that because again, the characters of Six of Crows never meet the characters from the Grisha. So seeing Cass interact with the Darkling, that was really cool. And seeing
Yeah.
them meet Alina, because obviously Alina, after the events of the first 3 books, she's something that people speak of in Ravka. So, seeing them actually meet her, that was really cool. I really like how they ended up uniting, but I agree. At first, it felt like 2 different stories.
Yeah.
And one could argue that the Six of Crows storyline was more fun. And I think it's mostly due to
Yes.
the characters, because there's
Yeah.
a point that in the Grisha storyline, it's Mal. And again, going back to Mal, not everyone likes Mal. I was more invested in Alina and the Darkling, obviously.
Yeah, I think I ranked it as Six of Crows, Peeps, Alina and the Darkling, and then Alina and Mal at the very bottom, because their dynamic was not the best, mostly because when it came to Alina, she was not a strong character. Her personality trait was basically Mal.
Mal.
And yeah, because their whole thing revolved around him and how, because he's a part of her humanity, and now that she's what she is, technically a saint, she tries to hold on a lot to that. And then when she tries to get rid of it, it's just this whole torment about like, oh, Mal. And every time it was just Mal. And she even yelled his name so many times, which is a typical YA trope. So I'm okay. I'll let it pass. But then you had her with the Darkling, and the dynamic was much better. And especially bouncing off Ben Barnes, I did think Ben Barnes was a little one note at times. He just kept giving the same, but it was working. But I will say I wish if we get another season, I hope that there's more layers to him and there's more complexity, because clearly he is a complex character. So I would love to see him explore more of that. Because for the first season, I understand how it could be, again, one note, because we're still trying to figure out, and they have twists and turns that, I mean, we already knew where it was going. But for people that don't know clearly, like my mom, then you're going to be surprised. So I hope that, considering how it ends, we can see what happens next season and they give him more to work with.
Yeah, that's the thing. This first season combined the first 2 books in the Grisha trilogy. I'm not going to get into spoilers, but if you read the books, what happens at the end actually happens at the end of the second book. So I'm curious to see what else they're going to change if they get a season 2. But yeah, going back to the Darkling, he is a very complex character. It's one of the reasons why I really loved him in the books. And although we did get to see a little bit of his past and what got him to be the menacing figure that he is today, I want to see more of that, because obviously I know the tragedies of his past. I know why he's so angsty and all of that, but not many people who haven't read the books don't. And kind of want people to love the Darkling as much as me and the rest of the fans do. So I hope we get to see more of that in the next season. And hopefully Mal, make him likable.
I liked him. I liked Mal, because I was very curious as to where his character was going, pero eso son otros 20 pesos. But yeah, stand the Six of Crows, peeps. They were my favorite part, and I hope you're all going to enjoy them, because again, Six of Crows, usually that's the one that's sold to me as the best of the Grisha universe. And as soon as I finished Shadow and Bone, I was like, I want to buy the duology. So if you're like me, you'll definitely enjoy that part, because Kaz, Inej, Jesper, they were just brilliant. And the goat. We love the goat.
Oh my God, Milo the goat, he stole the show. But
He
also,
did.
I hate how they try to make me pity Matthias from Six of Crows.
I hated him
He's
through and
such
through.
like for a moment I was like, oh my God, and then I was like, snap out of it. I hate him so much.
He's
and
horrible.
They tried to make me, he's horrible.
But yeah, anyways,
Yeah.
I was gonna say Stan Six of Crows. Yes, Stan Six of Crows, but also watch the Shadow and Bone series coming out on Netflix. Give us the details.
Yes, it will be premiering on Netflix April 23rd, which if you're watching this today, it's in exactly 48 hours. So put on the alarm to wake up early so that you can watch it in an entire day, because it's definitely worth it. It's only 8 episodes long, and it goes by really fast.
Yeah.
And yeah, let us know if you like it, if you read the books, or if you didn't.
If you're
How
excited
did you
to
like
watch it.
Yes. Are you excited to see Ben Barnes back on TV?
He was so good. I know, like, I know I said he was one note, but that one note, he played it so well.
Yeah, Josie made me a Darkling wallpaper. I'm very happy.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, that's all for this review. If you'd like to keep up with us, please follow us at Film Posers basically everywhere. Also, like, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell so you can find out more about what we post when we post it, especially the In the Heights review that will be coming very soon. And yeah, that's all for today. Again, remember, we're all film posers. Bye.
Bye.